While the battle at the top of the Beatson's Jim Clark Reivers rally was grabbing headlines, there was also plenty going on throughout the various classes of the Asset Alliance Group's Scottish Rally Championship. Let's catch up with those competitors we haven't seen yet. Michael Moats had found a seat alongside MG3 regular Ewan Syme for this round. Sadly, they retired with a burst radiator in SS3. With his Rally 2 Fiesta still damaged after a bruising Manx rally, John Forrest had made the last-minute decision to hire a Triple M prepared MG3. With John Shepherd alongside, they had a great time, spending most of the day laughing on the way to 76th overall. Scott Gourley and Greg Alcorn were excited to test the 205's new engine on tarmac and were very happy with the performance. Scott describing it as a weapon, catching cars on both the opening stages, and they were absolutely flying, defying the more modified machinery on their way to an excellent 47th overall. It wasn't a good day to have a yellow Mark II Escort in C3, both Ian Logan and Karen Tate Logan, and Campbell and Donald McComb failing to see the finish.
Oh right, right.
Delighted to finally start a rally again after a difficult end to 2023 and start to 2024, Alistair Brearley and Jerry Bryden would take the C3 honours and 74th overall. Despite the class win, they felt they were both very rusty and not overly happy with their performances, needing much more seat time. Martin Burke and Alice Patterson's day didn't go overly well.
2 minutes.
Oh no! Oh no!
That was the Impreza out. After regular navigator Amy McCubbin took unwell, Christopher Smith had asked Junior 1000 frontrunner Ryan Walker to step into the Corsa's hot seat as a last-minute super sub. Luckily, Ryan had accompanied Christopher and Amy on the recce, so things weren't completely alien. The Corsa crew rose to the challenge, sacrificing a couple of wing mirrors on their way to a second M1 win of the season, along with 70th overall. Alan Scott had purchased Scott Peacock's MG-ZR before the Clark, but it wasn't a good day for Alan and co-driver Ewan Anderson, retiring with gearbox problems early in SS1. Andrew Forbes and Alex Hill had looked rapid at the Speyside, but unfortunately hadn't seen the finish. The Clark was Andrew's first experience of closed public roads, and the Civic Man was going well. Despite a couple of scary moments in the slippy conditions, Andrew and Alex would grab the M3 win, along with 52nd overall in the high-revving Honda. Sandy and Ian Arbuthnot would retire after SS4. Fraser Smith and Nicky Addison's tough season continued. Not only was Nicky unwell the night before, but they were having power steering problems, making the car a real handful in the wet. 64th overall at the finish was their reward. .38th overall, Bruce and Terry McCombie enjoyed a full 3 days of rallying in their Mark II. Bruce very impressed with daughter Terry's abilities on the notes and happy to record a solid finish in the difficult conditions.
Oh yes. There's Al Donnelly. Brian watched.
Walter Henderson and Jim Kinloch's day ended after an argument with a gatepost in stage 3. And also failing to see the finish, Billy McClelland and Harry Stubbs were forced out with brake problems.
Willie McClelland. Henry Stubbs. Harry Stubbs, there he is.
Craig Rutherford and Ian Fraser's day started poorly, delayed with electrical problems. But once they were sorted, they ran well, setting good times and salvaging 75th overall. .43rd overall, Stephen Smith and Daniel Johnston were making their first SRC start in their newly finished Mark II. A big step up in potential over his old Mark I, Stephen was learning lots about how the new car worked on the way to 43rd overall. Mike Moats and Gary MacDonald were another crew to contest the national event as well as the Reivers, and it was an eventful weekend for the Impreza crew, enjoying chasing down and passing some of the Army Land Rovers after a delay. Mike still not sold on the tarmac game, taking 68th overall.
Is it? Yes, Muncie, go, go. Oh, the setup's going well.
Phenomenal setup.
Aye.
Another driver not a massive fan of tarmac, Scott Peacock and co-driver Craig Wallace were enjoying the challenge of the wet tarmac more than they thought they would. They enjoyed a day-long scrap with David Hardy and John McCulloch's Mark II Escort, losing out to the Ford by just 11 seconds at the finish. Keith Robertson and Duncan Brown had started well in the Forenza, catching a car in SS1, but sadly they would be forced out after SS3. Davy McLeod and Eamon Boyle were debuting their newly finished Avenger. Finding the car to be totally different to their previous Sunbeam, it was a day of learning, eventually finishing second in class and 71st overall.
See if you spoke long enough to Dougie, I think he would give in.
And not only did Robin Shuttleworth and Malcolm Smithson grab the H1 win, they were also first SRC historic home. Robin describing the wet conditions in the morning as mint and catching and passing 2 cars on the first stage. The rest of the day was equally solid, the Mark I Mexico finishing a very strong 59th overall. Ernie and Patricia Lee's day ended early, retiring with electrical issues in SS1. Having contested the National, Richard Stewart was well up to speed on the tarmac by this Sunday. With Mark Roberts stepping in to guide the 208 pilot, they had a very good run to the Pro 2 win and 55th overall. The only blemish on the day was modifying the Peugeot styling slightly on a bail during the day, and Richard was happy with his run, also taking second in the Haddo Energy Super Seniors. Willie Patterson and Tom Hind endured a tough day at the Reivers, the Fabia crew struggling with brake issues, including a lack of handbrake, making chicanes and hairpins a frustrating exercise in 3-point turns. They persevered to take 34th overall at the end of the day. After failing to see the finish at the Speyside, it was a good day of learning for John Crawford and Josh Davison in their recently acquired Fiesta R5. Not known for liking tarmac much, it was still a good run to 28th overall. The last time Chris Colley and Ricky Finlayson started the Reivers, it ended in a massive accident. So understandably they were a bit apprehensive on their return to the Borders lanes, but they built the pace and confidence as the day went on, taking 20th overall and doing no damage to their Fiesta.
Another nice paint job.
17th overall, Ian Forgan and Chris Lees started steadily in SS1 before an argument with a bail in 2 knocked a boost pipe off. They limped to service and got it sorted, but were then hit with brake failure on the second loop. A temporary fix gave them front brakes for the final stage, and they managed 17th overall at the end of a trying day. Barry Groundwater and Ashley Will had swapped their Polo for their Impreza WRC. It was a strong run for the fantastic looking car to 15th overall in the wet conditions. But Barry was a bit peeved that he lost out to Gordon Morrison and Ian Parker, finishing just 5.6 seconds down on Montana's Escort at the end of the day.